what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. Guess what? We're back where it all started, in this very special hollow piece of land in this parking lot. And guess what? I have a sport compact performance sedan that many people are still trying to track down. This is it. This is a 2022 all new, first time ever Hyundai Elantra N. But before we get into this, turbocharged, limited slip differential equipped 4-door compact sports sedan. Let's talk about what's going on here. Hyundai. You'd have to be underwater, 20,000 leagues under the sea, living in Atlantis to not know what this brand is doing to the auto industry. Not only with its new EV, the Ioniq 5, but of course, many of their other brands and vehicles, including this Elantra N. Now, N is the performance sub-brand of Hyundai. Obviously, they have their premium brand known as Genesis. We've seen the Veloster N in action. We've already been to the media event for this new sedan, but now we have it on my home turf, and I want to put it through its paces because I want to find out, has Hyundai struck gold with this Elantra N, especially for the price, compared to another compact sport performance vehicle, that long-standing Volkswagen GTI. Yes, it's a hot hatch, but do we have a hot sedan to combat it very properly on racetracks and on your favorite twisty roads? Let's dive in to this 2022 Elantra N and find out. Right off the bat, the style. Definitely unique, and when you see it rolling down the road, you're like, hey, there's something going on there. That something starts off at the front of the business. I actually am digging the headlight design. If you remember on the previous generation of the Elantra, they went with these weird, like Dorito chip style triangular headlights. These much more sharper, much more aggressive. We got LED daytime running lamps, LED headlights, and I love the way they got those multi-beams on the interior. Now, the one thing they didn't do that was LED are the turn signals. So we'll give it a little tiny zonk for those small little bulbs, but where they went really right is I love the way it's just blue on the sides. You got some vortex generators to help clean up the air going down the side corner, and then we do have functional corner vents. So air is gonna flow nicely into this flat black area. The one thing that really stands out in a not so good way are these large areas of not only plastic, which I don't mind, the flat black plastic, it's just a fake grille design. I wish they could have done some LED lighting, maybe made these openings a little larger, or even color match it. Let me know what you think about this section in that comment area below the video. Now, they did take the body color, float it nicely into this lower splitter area, and then you got the bright red trim. That's another designation of this being a true N performance model. Let me know what you think about that red trim. I know people with the Type R, the 10th gen Type R, they weren't digging it too much, but let me know what you think on this vehicle. Now, as we come across that low slung, wide nose, you're gonna have a lot of functionality. Look at how wide the openings are. I could literally, hey guys, there's my hand behind the grille. That's how large those openings are. We got our N performance badge, just like M. M is in Mary, M is in mother with BMW, STI with Subaru. Lots of performance, of course, especially testing these vehicles at the Nürburgring Nordschleife and during the 24 hours of the Nürburgring, the actual race running these models. Now, on the bottom portion, you do have a nice large splitter, and I like the way they integrated it into the front fascia. It doesn't look like it's just stuck on with double-sided tape or bubble gum, especially Big League Chew, because that stuff wouldn't stick very long. Behind there, we have a massive intercooler because, like I said, we have turbocharged power. Up top, you got the Hyundai badge, a little large for my taste. I wish it actually was sunk into the nose, and I wish that they just would have done flat black or gloss black. It kind of stands out in a not so very good way, but definitely you know that this thing means the business. And if you're looking at this compared to the GTI, GTI definitely looks a little bit more tame, even though we got the new 8th gen Volkswagen GTI. Looks a little bit more tame compared to this Elantra N. Now, when we get up onto the hood, you'll see V for victory, because you know what? Elantra N is kicking butt on racetracks around the country. in the IMSA touring car class, where it races against vehicles like the Civic Type R. Now, as we come around the bend, what are we working with? Wheel and tire setup. First of all, you can see how the red comes around the corner. There's those vortex generators to clean up the air. What are we working wheel and tire? You're getting these unique setup from Hyundai. So what we have is this nice 19-inch wheel. Love the machined aluminum finishes. Everything else is like a satin black with the M badge. Now, we don't have Brembos, so that maybe would be a zonk where you have the Brembos on the Type R. But you know what? The Volkswagen GTI doesn't have Brembos, but we do have upgraded not only calipers, but special pads. You could see how dirty those calipers could be. I'm sorry, we were going through some nice twisty roads and they got a little dirty, but they got the M badge. They are bright red. I promise you, once we wash it off, you do get larger rotors, of course, than your standard Elantra or even the N line. And you're looking at 245 on the width, 35 series sidewall. And these are those Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires, going to give you some nice stick and grip. And we got a limited slip diff. So if you're comparing this to the GTI, very, very close when it comes to braking, handling, and also the tires. Now, as we come down the side, this is where I hope you got an A in geometry class, because we got a lot of lines, a lot of angles, body lines going this way, lines going down. Really makes it a little busy for my taste, but I know people are liking it. I love the way they got the N badge all the way down on this side sill extension with the red. Let me know how you feel about the red. Would you like it if it was all just flat black? We got gloss black on the mirror caps. Our turn signals, you do get a standard sunroof, which is a nice touch. And then working our way towards the rear, the one area that just sticks out like a sore thumb is this right here. I wish this was all just regular pillar and just body colored. But you do get the vortex generators to clean up the air, just like lady fingers, as the air is coming down the side of the vehicle. Wrapping it around back, what do we got? We got a lot going on here. Very unique rear wing. Lots of folds, lots of creases. Get out your protractor and all that good stuff, because there's a lot going on, but it is a functional trunk-lid wing. And one thing I do like about the Elantra is that the way the glass comes off the rear, it almost looks like a Sportback. It's not. It has a literal trunk instead of a Sportback. You got your M badge, we got our LED taillights, but you don't have those LED turn signals. That's another area where we're gonna zonk it. Clean on the Elantra badge. My favorite part though is when we get down to race car level. You got this wonderful diffuser. Love the way they do that triangular reflector on the bottom. Nice large exhaust tips, stainless steel tips. You got a nice little design kind of cut into them. Wait until you hear the snap, crackle, pop. You're gonna think the Rice Krispie guys are underneath the hood scooping it up with some milk and their cereal. But why don't we go ahead, let's check out that power plant so that we could hear the popping and the banging from this exhaust on our Elantra N. All right, guys, we got the hood popped. You do get a prop rub, but what's nice compared to the GTI, it's all the way over out of the way. The GTI has one of those weird ones where it's almost like a spring where it kind of bounces. Really strange, but what we got, semi-tasteful engine cover. I do like the way they put an N badge, just so you could pop the hood at your local Cars and Coffee event. The turbo, where's the turbo? Right there under that whole mountain of aluminum heat shielding. But really, it's not about the heat shielding, it's about the power. You're looking at, on that overboost mode of N-Grin, you're looking at 286 horsepower. That gives you a 10 horsepower boost. So if you do the simple math, 276 horsepower, 289 pound-feet of torque, but you can hit the button and give you 286 horsepower for 20 seconds. We have an 8-speed wet clutch DCT that does have a transmission cooler. You can still get a 6-speed manual. 0 to 60 with the DCT, 4.8 seconds. Quarter mile goes by at 13.3 seconds. Top speed, 155 miles per hour. MPGs, 22 in the city, 31 on the highway, and the car weighs 3,300 pounds. Now, if you're comparing this to the new 8th gen GTI, you got 241 horsepower out of that front-wheel drive vehicle, because this one's front-wheel drive as well. 273 pound-feet of torque, 7-speed DCT, or a 6-speed manual transmission, and the GTI does 0 to 60 in 5.1 seconds and weighs 3,190 pounds. So definitely Hyundai and the designers and their engineers did their homework when putting this up against the different vehicles. But you know what? It's that time. Let's fire it up and hear what kind of noise we get out of the Elantra N. All right, guys, we're inside this 2022 Elantra N. We're trying to compare this hot sedan to a hot hatch known as the Volkswagen GTI. I know what you're saying to yourself. Joe, I really want one of these. I just can't find them at a dealership, but I love learning more about it. I do have a name and a number for a Volkswagen GTI. Should I pull the trigger or should I just wait until my local dealership gets one in? How much is it though? MSRP base with a manual is going to be right around $31,000. This one with the automatic is right around $34,000. If you compare that to a GTI, the GTI has gone up in price above $36,000, depending on how you trim it out. Could be as high as $42,000 with the Autobahn trim. But let's see what you get for the price point, your hard-earned money, to the door panels. Now, up top, it's a little rough. And what I mean by that, it's hard, black plastic. But the great news is, as you get to the middle section, you got that microfiber suede material. I like the diagonal stripe design going on. Semi-tasteful little tweeter speaker grill cover up top. The rest is all hard plastic. That armrest is like made out of a chunk of rubber. So not my favorite, but the door pocket, halfway decent size. You could get, I would probably say 6 cake rolls in there, Swiss cake rolls, and a bottle of Yoo-Hoo to wash it down. And of course we got the Bose sound system speakers for the clear tunes. Now going from the door panel to the dash, you'll notice how we have the performance blue. That is the official color of the N branding, and it's just a little tiny strip. I wish they would have done maybe some red, some more of that blue, especially on the door panels, but especially here on the dash. Maybe even give me the N badge. That would have been a nice touch. But what we got here is 10.25 inches of visual perfection. We got navigation, wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. My favorite thing though, especially with this being an N car, is you got your drive modes, go into the different modes, sport, eco, normal, and then of course we got N standard, or you could do your custom where you could actually set the engine to different levels, the electronic limited slip diff, the whole 9 yards. Like I said, full touchscreen capability. I go back to home. Here's my favorite screen I want to show you. But bam! The N performance page, all the gauges, the gears, even here's where we see how it's been specially tuned for your liking, and a G meter, or when you go to the track, you actually could record all that good information for telemetry. Much easier to use than what we got in the GTI. Backup camera is a little sad. The resolution isn't great and it's on the smaller side, but I prefer this setup to the GTI hands down. Now working our way down, we do get dual climate control, which is nice. Heated seats, no ventilated seats, but you do get heated seats. I do have that start stop button nicely up top. Look at this shifter. Really good looking shifter for that 8-speed DCT, the performance blue, the M badge, the blue stitching. You got wireless charging, USB-A's, and a 12 volt. I'll move the shifter out of the way so Steven can get a good bird's eye view. There's all of our wireless charging. You actually got enough room for 2 payday bars. So once you get paid, you can eat your payday bars while you're at the track. I'm not digging this thing. It's hard plastic, and do we really need an oh crap handle that big in the Elantra N? I'm not too sure about that. We do got a mechanical, good old-fashioned e-brake. I am digging the key fob. I like the way they did the N badge on the key fob. Spin it around, you do have remote start. It's that rubber material, and it's not really that soft, but you open it up, you got some felt lining, because in there you could put, I would say, 224 Jelly Belly jelly beans. Maybe 225 if you squeeze it in a little bit. But Jelly Bellies, some of the best flavors on earth. Popcorn flavor. They even have tire smoke flavor and race fuel flavor for the car enthusiasts like you and I. Definitely stock up on those. Seats. They did it amazing in this Elantra N. Way better than the GTI. The blue stitching, look at the way the M badge lights up. It's like floating, three-dimensional. Love all the nice black chrome. More of that microfiber suede material. Good size bolstering. Now it is manual seat controls for the passenger and manual seat controls for the driver, but they really are like Recaro seats, and you do get that sunroof up top. But why don't you get your butt over here? I got a freaking crazy race steering wheel with a ton of buttons on it I want to show you coming over the business end. All right, guys, business time behind the wheel. Now you do have the smallest known to man or woman sill plate, but it does look good with the M badge. Pedal box is spot on the money. You got a nice large dead pedal aluminum, brake pedal, and throttle. For extra horsepower, we do have the M branded floor mats. So it does say Elantra N, that's an actual badge on the floor mat. 5 extra horsepower. Seats, I feel snug as a bug in a race car rug. Nice lateral hold, even on the bottom portion, but they're not squeezing you, which is good. And even though there's manual controls, it's very simple to get it in tune with your body. Now, steering wheel, nice round, not a large wheel, so it's really sporty in its overall layout. We got the M badging, some dark gray metallic. We got our N mode buttons, that N grin shift that adds 10 extra horsepower for 20 seconds. Large paddles behind the wheel, but they are plastic, of course. Would have been nice if they were metal. The big zonk, though, is this thing right here. That is what I call the Elantra Death Star. It does actually absolutely nothing. It's only there for the Elantra N line. It's a mode button, the biggest one known to man. That just looks ridiculous. But anyways, steering wheel otherwise is spot on the race car money. And then dash, you got that 10.25-inch digital display. My favorite is when we go full N. But bam, look at that. We got digital readouts. You got turbo boost. We got freaking all the magic and shift lights as well. Nicely laid out, super clean, good size, and it's got a little bit of a hood over it, so it's gonna block the sun's rays. But why don't we go ahead? 4 doors means sharing is caring, especially when you want to freak people out on your favorite twisty road. Let's get in the back seat and see how much room there is in this Elantra N. All right, guys, back seat time, and I wish there was a little bit more to write about back here or to talk about. The good news is you got tons of room. More room than I even think the GTI. The bad news is that's all you got back here is room. Backs to the seats, because they are the one-piece race backs, no pockets, but I'm okay with that because this seat is worth the price of admission. This right here, this is just sad. No AC vents, no USB, no USB-C, no 12-volt. I can't even go to Target and buy a 12-volt adapter so I could use a USB to stick in here. Nothing. So hopefully your friends have their phones charged when they're filming you going down that twisty road, because once their phones are dead, you got no proof of what you did. But maybe that's a good thing. Maybe you don't want to have proof. But the seats are great. No armrest. So to help cut weight, no armrest, but you do have the microfiber material and the blue stitching, which is the nice touch. Goes all the way through the car. It's not like the Type R where you have bright red seats up front and in the back they just give you black seats. And then you have that center cup holder. But why don't we go ahead, let's get the trunk and see how it stacks up against the mighty hot hatch known as the Volkswagen GTI. All right, guys, of course, the trunk, comparing it to the GTI, that's always been one of the big things that the GTI does well is versatility and room. But you know what? This Elantra N does the business too. You're looking at 14 cubic feet of space. I like how low the cargo floor is, but I like even more that bright red bracing, tying everything in at the rear of the car. you do still have the usability of folding down that rear seat. So if you're doing a track day and you got a pop-up, you could actually fold the seat down and you just gotta work it through the bracing, but that's really not that big of a deal because there's lots of space. Let's see what's underneath the cargo floor mat. No spare. So we're cutting weight. We got a can of flat fix and an air compressor, electric air compressor. Gotta save the extra poundage, but you know what? If you're comparing it to a GTI, GTI has 16 cubic feet of space. So it's not a lot less, but it is less. But you know what? It's now that time that you've been waiting for, I've been waiting for. Hell, that bird and that freaking squirrel up there have been waiting for it. Let's go on throttle in our Elantra N. All right, guys, we're in this 2022 Hyundai Elantra N. I have it in manual shift mode and all of the different settings in full track mode and performance. If you're ready, I'm ready. On throttle, here we go. Nice. Gonna hit N-grin shift. You could really feel a difference in the shifting on the brakes. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. So you got your 20 seconds. The grip is really freaking unbelievable. Very quick turn-in. The turn-in is just instantaneous. I like the way that even with manual seat controls and a manual tilting and telescoping steering wheel, I'm able to get on the wheel. I really like riding up on the wheel. Puts a nice bend in your arms so that you could really do well through the twisty bits, but pointing this vehicle in the direction you want to go to, it's like you think it and you're already there. So the steering is very quick. Those Michelin tires, even with this being a front-wheel drive car, you're getting some really freaking good grip. And this N-grin shift mode is no joke. You hit the button, only available with the 8-speed DCT, and you got 20 seconds of 10 extra horsepower, and the way the gearbox shifts is way more just, it just gives you that nice extra jolt into each gear. I love the display with the dash. You got your N performance gauges, and then that noise. It sounds superb, the real deal. And if you need to make it quiet to keep the peace, you could do that. You could change the modes. I do have the steering, the engine, the suspension all in the sportiest setting. And yeah, it's a tad bouncy, but you know what? When you go through the twisty bits, it feels oh so freaking good. Nice large dead pedal. And I love the size of the steering wheel. Spot on the money. All right, guys, I have the shifter pulled over to the left. I've been doing it the whole time. That allows you to use the paddles on the back of the steering wheel. First gear from a slow roll. On throttle, here we go. Nice. N-grin shift mode, 20 seconds. I love it, I love it. Good feedback. On those brakes. But the sound, it makes it that much more engaging, makes you feel like you're in something really special. And the fact that it's stock and you're able to get that kind of sound, it saves you money at the end of the day to where you don't need to change it. Seats, switching to this design, if you've been in a 2020 Veloster N, you know the difference. Those were all right. These are phenomenal with a capital PH. Love the lateral bolstering, even the way they freaking look. They look like one-piece raceback seats that a Recaro made. All right, guys. I love this part. Second gear, that tack, when you go into your N mode, it just really nice and large. Shift lights around the edge of the tachometer. You got your oil temp, engine temp, the whole 9 yards. Are you ready? Because I'm ready. First gear. On, here we go. All the way to red line. Here we go. I'm gonna hit N grin shift. Here we go. Hitting the button. 20 seconds. God, look at this. Front wheel drive. You say a front wheel drive car can't be a performance car? This is the proof right here. So let's talk about this compared to the Volkswagen GTI. To me, there really isn't any comparison. The only thing the GTI does better is gonna be the versatility and the usability. Other than that, you got tons of room, more horsepower, you still got the limited slip diff, you still got the same brakes, and you got, of course, that fun driving experience. The infotainment system in this car is easier to use than in the GTI, the new Mark 8 GTI, and you don't have a heated steering wheel button right on the edges of the perimeter of the wheel to where you're not accidentally hitting anything. That's the nice layout of this steering wheel, is you're not accidentally hitting anything. I guess the one thing that would make it just a little extra nicer is if it had metal pedals instead of these plastic ones. But other than that, from a driving standpoint, this is the driver's car. Even with the 8-speed DCT, you know me though, I gotta go 6-speed manual, and you do have automatic rev match downshift with the 6-speed manual transmission. But with this being the wet clutch system and having a transmission cooler, I've been pushing this thing left and right, and no warning lights, nothing has gone into limp mode or anything like that. It'd be interesting to do a full day of track work and see how that goes. But this is one of those cars that for the price point, Hyundai is bringing a lot. All right, guys, one more time from a dead stop. First gear. Manual mode works awesome for me. The automatic mode, the DCT, is very intelligent and shifts very smoothly. But for me, I got to use the paddles. If you're ready, I'm ready. On, here we go. Love this thing. It's a ton of fun. On the brakes, here we go. Nice crisp turn in, tons of stick. It's very well balanced. I mean, watch as this left-right transition here. Look at that. I just went flat through that left-right transition. From third to fourth gear, spot on the money. It really is a very interesting time for compact sport performance cars. We gotta get back and wrap this one up, because I could do this all freaking day long. The only thing I would like is a 6-speed manual transmission, but I know for many of you, having the option of the 8-speed DCT makes things a little bit easier choice-wise. But let's get back to where it all started, wrap this one up. I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys, it's been one of those fun kind of days that you could only experience with a car that you feel confident in and have that really just great overall driving engagement. I definitely want to thank everybody at Hyundai USA for allowing us access for the week to this press fleet vehicle. Let me know what you think. Is this the right recipe for your hard-earned money to have that sport, compact, performance fun, or are you gonna go with the OG, of course, the Volkswagen GTI? Let me know which way you feel in that comment section. But if you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Radies Rides family. We got to give it up to Hot Hands, Stephen Flood Photography, making it happen no matter if the rain's hitting him in the eyeballs or a bug flies down his throat. Thank you, Stephen, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.